Well, here we are again. It's transfer deadline night. It's bus heritage. It's football heritage. But yeah, if it is that time of the year, then hey, you know what that means? It must be time for these two mugs to come back and do it all again. Gluttons for punishment, David. Are we gullible? But here we are, mate. We're doing the shift again. Maybe, just maybe, this will be the one where something really interesting happens. I'm just reaching really. I'm just well clutching at straws here. But hey, there's a first time for everything, mate. But how are you feeling ahead of this closure to this window, mate?
Well, I couldn't find my anything yellow because I'm pretty sure at the summer I ripped up anything that was yellow after our last
Yep.
late night venture onto the deadline day podcast. So I'm wearing all black for the just for the
Oh,
doom and gloom. I'm
the
afraid.
morning of it. R.I.P. Celtic transfer window.
Morning the transfer window once again. It's been a shit
Yeah.
show, to say the least.
Aye, aye, that's one way of putting it. So yeah, we'll try and dissect the madness that's happened today because there's been all sorts of mad headlines. Players coming in, then it's been off, and then it's back on again. We've been scraping the barrel for some free agents of years gone by in the Premier League. That one's been doing the rounds in the last hour or so, and
Mhm.
aye, we'll try and piece it all together of where we are come 11 o'clock, which is in 40 minutes time. Obviously, we've both got Sky Sports News on our TVs and our living rooms are now, just waiting for some kind of update from Celtic Park. But of course, I think the first thing we need to do, again, talking to tradition, we've got to get the aesthetics right because it is our deadline night show. So of course, the first thing is a change background to Sky Sports Studio. This colour, it just won't do, mate. We'll need to change that. So let's see. Let's get it to. There we go. Bit of
There we
yellow,
go.
and of course the ticker at the bottom. Even though there isn't much to report, but hey, let's get Celtic's transfer business from this month up there. A lot of loans, loads and loads of loans. But
A
there
lot
you
of
go.
loans.
So
Loan FC.
now that we're settled, now that we've got the usual aesthetics up and running, before we go any further, folks, remember just do all that good stuff as well. Like, share, as Terry says, show us you care. But yeah, just do all that again. It helps us out with the algorithm on Celtic YouTube, and it's going to be a busy night tonight. I imagine a lot of Celtic podcasts are going live around a bit now, or they already were live. So hey, if you've chosen us two mugs to come along and watch us suffer, then hey, we appreciate you for it. So thanks very much. But yeah, David, you may have not done a show in a while. I am not joking when I say I think the last show you and I did was probably the last deadline show. That's how long it's been. But
Yep.
how are you doing in general, mate? How are you?
Sleep deprived.
Yeah.
um, but other than that, it's been a mad season to say the least. It's been come on, it's an exciting season because of the three horse race. It's just a shame that it's taken us to be absolutely dreadful for there to be a three horse race, and that's what my debate with Reegan on the group chat was last night. But
Mm,
that a lot of the season is just down to our performance, our form, and not maybe
mhm,
necessarily Hearts' form because there's 41 years of evidence that Hearts are just there where they are at the minute because the two Glasgow clubs just haven't turned up so far this season. But credit where it's due, the Hearts have done all right. I wouldn't call them brilliant, but they've been doing all right. So I'm just getting fed up with the swagger. I think that's
mm.
what's annoying me the most, Phil, is a
They
lot of
getting a bit above their station for your
yeah,
liking, aye.
a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd rather it was them there than Rangers, but
Mm.
like I'm ready just to be like, right, come on now. Like simmer. Like we need to get this. We need to right a few wrongs and hopefully
Mm.
we can push on now that the window's going to be closed in the next 45 minutes or so. But
Yeah.
hey, it's anything but boring this season, Phil. Anything but
I
boring.
always say that it's definitely not a dull moment with this club. They definitely got a lot of talking points this season. It has been one calamity to another, and yeah, I'd imagine it's not going to change in the near future. And yeah, I guess we should try and look at what's happened today. Then, so Junior Adamu, that's how we're pronouncing it. Yeah, not Adamu, it's Adamu. He is in. He is confirmed. The striker on loan from Freiburg, who hasn't got exactly an amazing goal record up to now, but hey, that's where we are right now. But yeah, he's in on loan. Austrian, I believe. He plays for Austrian national. He's got caps for Austria. He'll be looking to try and get his sort of name into the Austria plans for the World Cup in 6 months' time. But yeah, he's here for Freiburg. That's our second player we've brought in on loan from the Bundesliga as well. So obviously we're not exactly, experts on him because there isn't much to really go on. But I've said before on a few pods recently, if one man knows how to get a performance out of a player that's maybe got a point to prove, as he's done in the past, then it's Martin O'Neill. But the problem is this time, David, he's only got 4 and a bit months to do it. A bit different back in the early 2000s when he was on a full-time contract and he was the manager going forward. But yeah, he's only got very little time here to get them firing on all cylinders. But Vanchara, when he came in just a few weeks ago, there was a very underwhelming feeling around him as well. And a lot of questions about his goal record and the lack of game time, really. Is Adamu going to be the same? Because I say Vanchara started all right so far. He's got 1 goal and 1 assist in 2 games. So, again, it's one of these, do we just make our mind up before the boys kick the ball, or let's wait and see?
Yeah, it's hard to, you can't ignore players' stats in other leagues, but sometimes it can be totally irrelevant. And there's always a bit of context I think needs to be looked at, especially with the Vanchara situation. Like, he was signed as a striker after having a good season. Was it? It was in Prague, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was one of the Prague teams, Slavia or Sparta, and then
I think
he
it was
moved
Sparta.
Regardless,
Like, he
played for. Didn't he play for? Oh no, he played for Jablonec. Then he went to one of the Prague teams because he played against us as Jablonec. Then he went to Prague. So yeah, he did play there. Yeah.
So obviously he earned his big money move to the Bundesliga, and I think he started off relatively well as the striker, but was then popped out right wing, for another incoming striker. So there's got a little bit of context there, and obviously I think he fell out of favour with not only the manager but the entire squad. So his goal record, obviously, in the Bundesliga didn't really match up to much. But I mean, you don't get a 10 million or 11 million euro move to a Bundesliga club for being shite. So, and I think, we've come up against the Prague teams in the past. I'm sure they might have even played against us or Rangers. I'm not sure, but
we played Sparta in the ill-fated COVID season. They beat us 4-1 in both games, and so, Slavia Prague played Rangers a few years ago in the Europa.
So a decent standard of football, and with Junior, he was at Salzburg before he got his move to the Bundesliga, and he managed in 84 appearances, 23 goals, 11 appearances for Salzburg. So, I mean, again, Salzburg, they're no mugs by any stretch, but again, he got his move to a more difficult league, and I don't know the context behind his failings, but again, I don't want to worry too much. I'm more bothered what he does in a Celtic shirt and what he does in what he has done at Freiburg, or Mönchengladbach for Vanchara. So I will give them a clean slate and just see what happens. I mean, there's been plenty of players in the past that we've signed that you've went, his goal scoring record or his form wasn't great at insert club, and have turned out to be brilliant players for us. Chris Sutton at Chelsea is a perfect example of a player that's just didn't work out for him at a club, at one club, but then came to us and was stays there for everybody to read. So, and even more recently, your Scotty Sinclair. So I try not to worry too much about poor form at other clubs, and we'll see what happens at Celtic.
That's what they do with us. Like a few years ago in the January window, obviously Adamida, the last number 9 that we had, went from Adamida to Adamu in the number 9 shirt, an on-loan striker, and again, people were underwhelmed with that 2 years ago, and he did play his part in getting us over the line 2 years back, because it wasn't quite what it is right now, but we were definitely in a bit of a struggle 2 years ago in the January window. had some bad losses in December. I think we lost to Hearts and Kilmarnock back to back, and Rangers had closed an 8-point gap on us. So it was, but obviously this time it's a little bit worse where we're sat. But yeah, it's a 3-horse race this time as well. And I just need to hope that these boys come in and they hit the ground running. Because
they've got points to prove, Phil. They've got points to prove.
They do.
They've got World Cup squads that they want to get into, and if that's the motivation they need to perform well for us, then I'm fine with that. They both play at they're both from international clubs that they're both capable of getting into the squad. I think they've both been in the national squad. So if they want to make sure they're on the plane to America, then they're going to have to. And I think that's what was kind of on Alameda's side when he joined us, is he had a point to prove. Like he wanted to sign for us apparently, and that was enough of a motivation for him. And obviously, once he got his move here,
yeah, that's him. He got his move. That was him happy after that.
Aye, well, I'm not going to discredit the 20+ goals that he scored once he moved us, but
true.
like
that is true.
It's we can't rewrite history that much. But these boys, they both. I'm sure Junior's got a option to buy clause.
He does, yeah.
I don't know about Winchara, but either way, they've both got points to prove for the World Cup. So I'll take that as any sort of motivation.
Well, obviously the other big story that's been on and off all day, and it's again from one shambles to another. The events of the last few days have been wild when you look at it, because after the Utrecht game, obviously Martin O'Neill was asked about progress on transfers again, as he's been the whole window, and some names were put to him. Obviously, the boy who was playing, the Hungarian one that's now signed for RB Salzburg, he's went there. And the other one was obviously the boy playing for Frosinone in Serie B. And Martin O'Neill's answer was, you wouldn't be a million miles away with that one. It did seem like the boy from Frosinone was on the way. And then Celtic, I believe, deleted the video where he said this in the presser, which was an interesting move. And suddenly the news came out that deal was off. There was stories about we scoffed at the $6.5 million transfer fee, which wouldn't sound too unplausible. And now there's stories as well that the player himself actually just rejected coming to us either way. But yeah, it went from that, and then we went to Mavuka from Lorient, who played for Bodo a few years ago when we obviously encountered them in the Conference League. That was the season where I think they first began making an impact on European football. I believe they beat Roma that season 6-1 in the group stages. That was quite a famous moment for them. But obviously they'd done us in the knockout stages when we dropped out to the Conference League. So he did encounter us there. But since then, he's left there, went to Lorient, had a couple of loan spells away. This season, he's had 15 appearances for them, no goals. So, yeah, it did look like a mad shift going from, a $6.5 million rated player to suddenly this for about $3 million with 0 goals, 0 assists all season. And then, but at the end of the day, it looked like it was happening, at least. It was something. And then the story came out. Obviously, as the day was dragging on, because Adamu was announced early in the day. And then this one just went radio silent when it looked like this was a goer, because Sean Maloney also did the presser on Friday for the game at the weekend. And he talked about the focus on a right winger, the focus for the transfer recruitment team all January has been, we need to improve the right wing. And then this going radio silent. And then about 3 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago, suddenly reports start coming out from France, and Anthony Joseph began tweeting it that he's failed his medical. Apparently, he has a history of heart conditions. So obviously, riots were starting to break out all over Twitter. You could see pockets of fans losing their mind over this. And now in the last half an hour before we've came on, Stephen McGowan has said that it looks like it's happening. With a loan deal. We've changed it to a loan now with an option to buy. But yeah, it seems like it's happening. It was on, it was off, it's on again. I say a couple of days ago, people were very underwhelmed by this, but now it's a case of, well, we just need to get something over the line. And I said to Terry last night on post match as well. You look at some of the words that Martin O'Neill's said in the last few days about he's said no to a lot of players that have been recommended this month, but then we've landed on Mavuka, 0 goals in 15 games, whatever. So it's like, well, what was the level of the people that they were saying no to? That this is where we've ended up. So it does feel like it is we need to get something over the line, and this is the best we can do right now. And here we are again. Similar situation, probably not a case of writing them off right away, but the optics of it all don't look tremendous, do they, David?
No, not at all. It screams panic stations. Again, I don't really know what we've been doing this entire window. I don't really know what Martin O'Neill's been doing this entire window. Like, I don't understand a man of Martin O'Neill's stature being asked not once but twice to come out of retirement and hasn't been able to just call up Dermot Desmond and say, "Listen, you've asked a favour of me twice now. The least you could do is put your hands in your fucking pockets."
Exactly.
Whether that's him trying to, again, I don't know if Desmond's maybe just thinking, well, I don't want to go and splash cash on players for a manager that's not going to be here in 6 months. It doesn't fill me with any confidence that there's any long-term planning whatsoever. I mean, the amount of loan deals this window in itself is enough evidence of that. But I'm not quite sure who's been in charge the last few weeks in terms of getting the players scouted. Has it been Maloney? Has it been...
Going by Sean Maloney's words himself, he said that he's been part of it along with the new scout they brought in from Chelsea, James Bell-Walker. They seem to be the main figureheads behind a hastily put together recruitment team, because obviously Wilfred Nancy was trying not to speak of the Paul Tisdale and Wilfred Nancy either too much, but yeah, with all that obviously happening at the start of the month.
Where's the Chelsea links then? Like, I've got a guy that was a head scout at Chelsea, and they've got players coming out the ears at Chelsea that they need to get out of the club.
Well, that David Fofana, that was one of the names that came up continually throughout the window. He's went to Chelsea's feeder club, Strasbourg, in France. Is
that where he's gone?
That's where they went in the end, because Chelsea have got that ability where they're in one of those networks where they're like the top of the pyramid. So if they need to just send a player out on loan to clear up a space, then it's like, well, we could just send him there, no problem. And that's what they've done. That's what's happened to Fofana in the end. He came back. The story's coming out where his team were pushing for a full-time move away from Chelsea. In the end, they've not been able to get it, and he has just went back out on loan to Chelsea's feeder club in their network.
It's baffling, to say the least. I mean, it's been a mad day. Like, we can, if you want to talk about panic stations, I think there's been a bit of panicking going down at Nottingham today.
God, yeah, Arne Engels, 25
yeah,
million.
The Arne Engels saga was quite wild. It's obviously probably been the biggest story of like the window. It's a player that we've ended up keeping a hold of, but reported 3 bids coming in from them. Most was 25 million, 20 million up front. And now obviously there's rumours that Arne Engels is now frustrated that the move didn't go through. In any other situation, I think you snatch their hands off at 25 million for Arne Engels. I don't think he's a bad player. I just think we've been just a bit underwhelmed, and I just don't know if he's the player that we necessarily need right now. It's just unfortunate that we've had such poor planning throughout the entire window.
Yep.
That we were in no position to let him go. Forest have
sounds familiar, doesn't it? So
yeah.
Look at what happened in the summer with Maeda. Maeda was all set for a move away, and sorry, Dyson, we can't let you go because we haven't done our job correctly today. Sorry, Arne, we can't let you go if you've not done our job properly.
Would you have accepted the 25 million tonight, Phil?
I said this to you last night, like, again, you use the word normal circumstances there. In normal circumstances, yeah, obviously, but right now we find ourselves in a bad situation. We've got a threadbare squad. Arne Engels, I genuinely feel that if you took him out the starting 11, I don't think we noticed much of a difference. I think our midfield has been misfiring all of them pretty much all season, no matter what combination you put together. I don't think it's. I think Engels' contributions taking out the team isn't going to make a massive difference to us. But we're in a situation right now we cannot afford to let anybody else go, because if we were a well-run club, we would jump on that because we would have something else lined up. We would already be like a contingency plan, but we do not have any sort of plan right now. It's just been a very desperate situation this window, and here we are tonight, having to reject 3 bids from Nottingham Forest and 25 million. It's mad that we're actually in a world where this Celtic board, who love money, who love profit, have said no to 25 million bid for Arne Engels.
I mean, I don't even see Nottingham Forest coming back anywhere near that level of price in the summer for him. By the way, I don't think they necessarily were that bothered about signing him. They were going around Middlesbrough. They were chancing a lot of loads of places. I think they just seen a Celtic as an easy option because, if we chuck 25 million their way, they'll accept it. So I don't think we're going to see another 25 million bid coming from Nottingham Forest. I was speculating with you last night that I wonder if Man United have thrown in a bid for Anderson, but I forgot that they'd lost Douglas Luiz because he was recalled by Juventus to go to Villa. So I didn't even think about that until they were talking about it this morning. So they'll have their ducks in a row for the summer, and I don't see Engels being.
Well, Sky Sports were actually mentioning that Anderson might be going to Man U in the summer, so it might come around again, maybe. But by the summer, more players become available. When you're talking about English Premier League teams, they've got a bigger market to shop in. So yeah, it probably might not come around again. We'll just need to wait and see on that one. But it's been quite the saga, that one, or the stories of them coming back in again and considering another bid. And I think they approached Middlesbrough as well for a player, and Middlesbrough told them no, so then they came back to us again.
Spoy Hackney, young English lad. Future stars, you might call him, Phil.
Indeed. But yeah, that's obviously been the biggest story. But yeah, we're still waiting on any sort of confirmation regarding the Invuka deal. Nothing has come through yet, I believe. Well, I did see a comment come up earlier on saying it had been confirmed, because there was a reporter popped up on Sky Sports News at Celtic Park, but because of the volume down, so I don't know what exactly he said. But yeah, we're coming up obviously our deadline in 18 minutes it is now. So usually just after 11 they will give us hopefully some kind of update. But then again, this is Sky Sports we're talking about, and Scottish football, they don't tend to treat us with massive priority. But what did you make of the Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain links out of nowhere? What we say to that, David? Scraping of the barrel. And the most insulting bit about the tweet was it broke that news from Anthony Joseph. Celtic had no rush on that one because he's a free agent. They could do it tomorrow if they like.
It's just screaming in the actual all over again,
Aye.
And I can't help but get Aaron Ramsey vibes a little bit off of out of this signing a little bit. Like I just don't like. What is he? Is he a right winger? I thought he was more of a centre mid.
He started his career as a wide midfielder, wide forward, but obviously as his legs began to go when he went to Liverpool, they converted him to a centre midfielder, and he sort of played in the middle of the park rather than out wide. So that's probably where he'd be coming in as, if this happened, he'd be coming in as an option in the middle of the park. But yeah, he's 32-year-old and hasn't played a game in 200, and I think I actually saw a tweet tonight saying he's not played a game in 287 days. The last game he played was a 11-minute appearance for Besiktas against whatever team it was in the Turkish league. But yeah, he's been a free agent since this summer. So,
I mean, he's always been a bit injury prone as well. That's the other concern about him.
Yeah.
We're going to throw him into a game and his hammy's going to go. I mean, there's no denying you're getting. Well, welcome to Lone Hamstring FC. I mean, there's no denying you're getting a player with a ridiculous amount of experience. I mean, he is a winner. I mean, he's a Champions League winner. He's a Premier League winner. He's 4 times FA Cup winner, 1 League Cup, 3 Community Shields, a Club World Cup, a UEFA Super Cup, and a Turkish Cup. I mean, he's got plenty of medals. I mean, how much say he had in a lot of those finals, I don't know. But or league campaigns, I don't know. But I've got all the free agents out there. Like, if we're going to go down free agent route, Oxlade-Chamberlain, I don't know.
Yeah. So he's been obviously he's been training with Arsenal, and amazingly there is a story as well that Mikel Arteta would consider signing him for like as a squad option, and their hunt for they're still in 4 trophies pretty much. They're trying to hunt down. So there's still that could happen as well. So, but I've just found the comment here. Thomas Burns has said earlier on Mavuka confirmed on loan with option to buy. So
aye, 3 million option to buy in the summer. If his heart wasn't, I mean, is his heart up for the challenge? That's the.
Well,
my heart's not going. I don't know. I don't know if my heart would pass a medical right now.
As a result of this, if now we've changed this to a loan rather than paying 3 million, as DJ Eliminator says here, we have spent £0 on 5 players. Incredible. Celtic have actually managed to, and the one player they were actually going to pay money for, they have managed to change it so they can just do a loan with an option to buy. And I think I read, I guess it was 4 Tims in a pod to tweet something about the thing about his heart issues was actually on his Wikipedia page. You could have seen it just by looking him up on Wikipedia. And Lorient apparently knew about this because this isn't something that's just cropped up in the last few days. He's had this obviously for a good while, and Lorient, when they signed him, knew about it as well. So it's not new news, but hey, Celtic board have not done their due diligence there on that one. But yeah, they've now had to change it to a loan with an option to buy. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, but yeah, that's but yeah, £0 spent on 5 players, and again, only Celtic could. And I said this to Terry last night. The argument now about but they don't want to spend money because a new manager coming in the summer might not like players. That doesn't wash with me. See if they're good enough players, no manager is going to come in and just rip up a squad. If they're of a good level, he's going to be like, well, I'm going to build around these players because they're good. You very rarely see a manager come in and players that have only joined 6 months before and get rid of him. It will usually be fringe players that get cut, or there might be one big expendable, sellable asset that will be moved on for helping with transfer funds. But this idea that, and I don't know, maybe that just shows how little confidence Celtic themselves have in scouting players, that they're worried about this idea that a new manager comes in and might decide that these guys aren't good enough. Is that not ringing alarm bells there?
Well, if they're not good enough, if they might not be good enough for the next, why these guys that we're bringing in now, like, what makes them so fucking good then?
No, I know.
Well, these guys have been good enough for 6 months, but we don't want to, we'll just get them, but we didn't want to sign guys that will be good enough for the new manager.
It's
like, the guys that have all been linked with, like the more serious players, we'll say, like the striker at Bodo Glimt. You're not telling me that any manager, whoever it would be, isn't going to go, I like him. He's the boy that scored against Atletico Madrid and put 2 past City. Nah, I didn't want him. I don't want him. Don't bother spending 10 million on that because I'm not going to want him.
To me, I can't. But you can't rule out anything with this board at times. But it does feel like this is just excuses that get peddled by board apologists. That's what I feel, where they're trying to justify their stance. Because again, you're like, surely no rational business person would think this way. But with this board, can you rule anything out with the way they've performed in continuous transfer windows now? But yeah, if they love money and they love profit so much, then hey, the Champions League is the promised land for such things. And it's like, well, surely the plan would be, David, to maximize your chances of getting back into the promised land. And it just feels so arse backwards the way they're tackling this. Not only have we got to try and be better than Rangers now for the rest of the season, we've got to be better than Hearts as well. There's now 2 very serious challengers here. And just for the way they approached it, it's like there's absolutely no guarantees at all now. None at all. And it's going to be a bumpy ride. These players that are coming in is a massive punt, gamble, and we just need to hope that they slot in and it fixes, gets us over the line, just fixes the holes that we've got to help us limp to that title, mate.
Also, what about this boy for Brentford, the centre back? Has there any been confirmation on
Benjamin
him
Arthur? Nothing's been confirmed yet, but I've seen people on Twitter saying like he's only played like three professional games, but some people forgot pointing out, well, guys like Jeremy Frimpong, who was signed, hadn't played a full-time, like, first team game and whatnot. So I don't read too much into that. I guess he made his first Premier League appearance back in September. But it's just funny how we had Jamai Simpson-Pusey on loan from Man City, who did get some games last season, did play in a few Champions League games, and who even knows what happened there? Like, honestly, that is of all the crazy transfers that have went on in the last few years, with some of the weird things that have happened, that one ranks right up there with what the hell was that? And we've let him go, and we're bringing in a boy from
with less experience, with a lesser club.
with less experience, to basically take up his role. That's what it feels like, which will allow, I believe, Stephen Welsh to go to Motherwell on loan, which again,
I don't understand. I'd rather just keep Welsh. I'm sorry, I would rather just keep Welsh then. Like, the boys had a great season so far at Motherwell. Have an unknown quantity, and this boy might be brilliant. Who knows? I doubt we'll see much of him because he'll only come in for cover. But we've sent back. We never used a boy we got on loan from Man City who had more experience. Who is now starting in games in Germany. I think he went.
He's playing for Cologne now in Germany, correct?
Yeah, so he's starting games as well. He's, from what I saw, he started off reasonably well. If Motherwell are so keen to get Welsh, why are we not using him as some sort of bargaining chip? Yeah. I don't understand it, unless it's a case of, like, we'll give you him for loan this season, but we want first dibs come summer. Right. I can understand maybe the little bit of concern about, is this guy a flash in the pan and he's having one great season, and then we end up signing him and it's going to be shift say all over again when we signed him for Dundee United. But I'd take the gamble for $3 million and Stephen Welsh, have him. We'll give him a McCowan while we're at it. Just have him and all.
The whole chain of events around Mazraoui has been wild, because Martin O'Neill and Fozzie obviously turned up at Fir Park a few weeks ago in the Scottish Cup weekend. We were playing on the Sunday against Auchinleck, and Motherwell were playing Ross County, I think, on the Saturday. We're not playing Motherwell anytime soon. So it's a bit weird that our manager and one of his assistants turned up to watch Motherwell, because obviously previously the same two had turned up at St Mirren, but we were playing St Mirren in the next game. Made perfect sense. Go and watch.
Was Welsh still playing for Motherwell at the time, Phil?
Welsh was still there. We had to recall him before the 14th, I think. No, we recalled him already. We had recalled
so it wasn't
him
like we were just going to
he
watch
played
him.
against Auchinleck the next day. He played against Auchinleck the next day, so he was back in the door. So and also, they went there for a reason. I said, not just to watch Motherwell and scout them out. They went there, and then it's very quiet. And I don't know if Celtic have obviously recalled Welsh as a sort of, we'll try and strong arm Motherwell here, and Motherwell have just rebuffed it. Just been like, no, we'll know that. But then again, the manager did say the other day for them on his press conference that they are in the market for a centre back, and Stevie Welsh is high on their list of targets. So it just felt like a really weird standoff between both teams. And it's like, look, will you just get the deal done? Because they must have went down and watched him for a reason. Now, he did actually score that day. I believe he scored the only goal. And since then, he's also added a few more goals. So he only keeps on adding to his CV here. So what on earth have we, what was that? It was just a whole weird scenario when you look at it, the whole chain of events. And it's now just going to result in Stevie Welsh is probably going to go back now to Motherwell on loan. And it's like 2 weeks of his career there, but he was doing fine at Motherwell. He was away from Celtic. He was finally playing regular. He was doing fine at that level. We've taken him back for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, just to play against Auchinleck Talbot and have a sub appearance at the weekend and train with the first team for a couple of weeks, and just to go back down to Motherwell. So it feels like we've got to have, I believe that we have recalled him with the attempt to try and get Mazraoui, and Motherwell have just been like, nah, we're not doing it. And then we've realised that we just need to send him back then, because, yeah, he's not going to get many games, and we are kind of stifling the boy's career, because he's shown over the years he's just not quite that level for Celtic. You may as well just let him go and try and develop and, get a full-time move somewhere else, and Motherwell might be that place for him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, I'd probably rather just keep Welsh if that's than bringing in this boy if this is the route we're going down. But obviously, on the other side of the coin, we have kind of been messing around with this boy's career for the last probably season and a half. So I mean, he deserves to go and play football, and he's no, how old is he now? 25, 26.
Yeah, he's in his mid-20s
He's
now.
in his
Yeah,
sort of prime now. If he doesn't, he needs to be playing football. So
yeah.
I'm happy for him to move to Motherwell, but I would have liked to have seen it being used as some sort of bargaining chip. But apparently that's not happening unless we get some sort of don't go to bed just yet Celts. But I highly
Yeah,
I highly doubt it now. Like,
yeah. They'll say
I
Benjamin
just feel like we're
Arthur
just going to
seems
sign
to
a bunch of
be.
guys. I just 5 loans. It's just it's a bit of a cheat. See if we go win this league, man. 5 loans. It's a bit of a fucking redneck, isn't it?
It's a bit, to be fair. I know there's
a bit of a
options to
cheat.
buy on them, but it is.
You aren't even. We're having to use 5 players from different league on loan to win this league. Like, come on, man. Like,
The lack of self-awareness from the board is incredible. All the stereotypes we've got about them for being cheap and trying to save anything they can on any deal, and it's like you've literally not spent a penny. The one deal you were actually going to spend on, you managed to change it to a loan with an option to buy at the last minute because of health issues that the boys got that you didn't do your due diligence on. Here's a comment from Estepona Boy, and he says, Martin O'Neill must have known what he was getting into. I just don't understand it. Totally agree with that. And then he follows up by saying, what about Big Nawrocki? That was another centre-back who's out on loan.
I think
And
there's an option to call him back from what I read, Phil.
there wasn't an option. Wow.
That's what I'd read, that there was no option to bring him back off the loan. I mean, I don't understand that. I don't see why.
Brendan Rodgers must have really hated him because he was obviously the manager when we agreed that deal, and it's like, you signed him, Brendan.
I think most of the signings that under Brendan Rodgers are not playing at the club right now. Like, if you look at the other people that have been sent out on loan, you Inamura, Shin Yamada, like Johnny Kenny. Beyond
Johnny Kenny at Bolton as well. That's something that happened today.
So a player that we gave a contract extension to, and 2 Japanese players we brought in the summer are now being shipped out on loan because they're deemed surplus to requirements and they're not good enough.
Yep.
I mean, that in itself speaks volumes. It's just
I know the whole summer transfer window. If you go through all the activity that we did. I say you've had Ian Atchell, who's been injured more than he's been available. He was signed as a free transfer after the window. The only 2 players that have probably made an impact are obviously Kieran Tierney and very much Benjamin Reegan. As polarising as Benjamin Reegan is, I keep saying it, without his goals and his contributions this season, it's a very sobering thought of where we'd be right now. That's where we are. But obviously, Inamura, from day one, Brendan Rodgers was kind of like, what are we signing this guy for? It was that sort of same vibe as when Shved joined all those years ago. Like, I have no use for this guy. I'm going to look to get him a loan right away. And then he played in a friendly, but he looked okay. Then he played 1 league game against Livingston. He was actually all right. But yeah, just that was him. That was the last we saw of him. Shin Yamada hasn't looked like scoring at all. And he's been loaned out. And Simpson Pusey, as I've already discussed tonight. What was that? And yeah, it's just that whole summer transfer window again. The thing is, the previous summer transfer windows, you think, can it really get any worse? And in the words of Mick McCarthy, it can. And it feels like every window we roll on one to the other, and they find a way to just do this. And the thing is, none of us are surprised. Obviously, for the last few weeks, doing shows on this channel and every other podcast that you watch right now, we're not saying anything that there's very few podcasts out there, I think, that are, try to toe the party line still and, still stick up for the board. I think it's very unanimous. And obviously many of the Celtic podcasts had their name on the Celtic Fan Collective statement at the start of the season when all this erupted, I was included. And yeah, none of us are surprised. And this is where the apathy comes in. I've said that Terry on the post-match show, like the apathy around Celtic in the stadium, all the fan problems with the Green Brigade bans and whatnot as well. And it's just like, the fact we're even still mathematically in this title race right now with all the carnage that we've somehow just brought on ourselves is a miracle in itself. We should be thanking our lucky stars that we're actually still in with a chance. And while we have got that chance, David, we have to just find a way to make it work now. But we're setting ourselves up for a hell of a rocky second half of the season now with what we've done in this window.
Yeah, it's just I mean, I'm not overly concerned about how the season's going to go in the second half of the season. Like, I know like you said, we're still well within this title race. I mean, you've got Hearts that have now lost their best striker for the foreseeable, arguably their best player of this season in midfield, in Devlin. Like, let's just see how they manage to get on. I did expect Dundee United to put up a bit of a better fight the other night, but they just completely imploded. And just, Rangers are quietly kind of going about their business. I know they dropped points against Hibs on the weekend there, but, they've been racking up points here and there, just going to get through, getting results. So there's still plenty of pressure on. There'll hopefully be a little bit of stability now. But no stability for this entire season with the chopping and changing managers, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the first half of the season. Like that in itself just caused. I mean, look what happened when Rodgers left and Martin O'Neill comes in. We go on a winning streak, and he gets us set up to go, which we should have went top of the league. But of course, Nancy came in, and shit really did hit the fan. And I do believe that if we had beaten Hearts that day, which we should have done, I think they would have begun to spiral. I think we would have just momentum would have been with us, and we would have continued to certainly at least put a bit more pressure on them that we have recently. But obviously that's all if buts and maybes. But I think we're going to have a bit of stability now. Obviously, there's going to be no more speculation for the rest of the season in terms of who's coming in and signings, and we're just going to have to get on with it. We've got our manager and our coaching staff. They are in place till the end of the season, and we know if there's one thing Martin O'Neill can do is he gets results. So I'm not overly worried that we can't claw this back, because I do think this is when it really begins to show, do Hearts have what it takes to go the whole way? And I don't know if they have the squad depth. I know they have strengthened in this window in terms of trying to get some players in for cover, but to lose their captain and arguably their best player of the season so far, I mean, I know they've got Braga, great player by the way. I just don't know if they've got what it takes. They've never been in this position before. They're going to get nosebleeds are that high up right now. So,
right, they've got an update coming on Sky because it just went past 11 o'clock. They've just crossed to Celtic Park.
I'm a little bit behind on my stream. It's still short. Here we go. Radio silence. Riveting viewing for you guys.
So Luke Shanley is saying that Mavuka will sign on loan with an option to buy. That has been confirmed. So he's just said that. So that's happening. Celtic's Twitter hasn't even posted anything yet. The last thing they've updated is with the reserve goalkeepers went to join Leyton Orient. They've confirmed that. That's the last thing they've done in the last couple of hours. So they've not even tweeted that. But yeah, he has confirmed Mavuka's happening, but nothing yet. I see about Benjamin Arthur from Brentford. That
these
one
loans can be announced after the deadline as well, though, don't they? Like,
God, is that another loophole that they've got? We don't.
I'm sure.
We can just sit back. We don't need to rush. It's a loan. We're fine. See these loopholes that they keep finding. My God,
I'll just double check that.
Yeah, check that one out for the. They say the free transfer on Oxlade Chamberlain. If that happens again, what's the rush? Stick the kettle on. It'll be fine. But yeah, this is just see this is where we're at.
Technically, yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's not as simple as a grace period just for being alone, but there are 3 specific loopholes or mechanisms that Scottish clubs like Celtic use to finalise businesses after 11 p.m. deadline deal. The deal sheet. So there's a 2-hour extension. This is the most common way late deals happen. If Celtic had a deal in principle for someone like Mutka, but couldn't finish the paperwork by 11 p.m, they can submit a deal sheet to the SPFL between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. And obviously the reward is that they get up to 1 a.m. to submit the documents.
Right.
So that's Google Gemini, my best pal.
Okay. So the word Gemini uses mechanisms, or we use the word loopholes. Right. Okay, that's fair enough then. So they always find this board. They've got away with it again. They found a way to slip through the net. But
They've
yeah,
got to prove though that the agreement was made before 11 p.m.
Okay, right, that's fair enough.
Which I think they have, obviously, if they're announcing that that's going to be happening.
But yeah, that's going to be. That's the other one. I think it'll be Benjamin Arthur from Brentford is the only other thing that we're waiting on. And yeah, that's it. Mavuka and obviously Adamu today, plus Araujo and Vanchara earlier in the window, and that is the 5 that we bring in this window by the looks of it. And the action doesn't stop, David, because we're not even getting like a full week now where they can come in, they can get settled at training and whatnot. No, we need to go up to Pittodrie now on Wednesday night. And I know that Aberdeen have been abysmal at times this season. They get destroyed by Kilmarnock at the weekend, didn't they? And but we've been Pittodrie midweek, February. It could just it's got the conditions around it where you're like, oh, this could be a horrible one. And as I've said to you last night, you know, the Aberdeen interim manager just now, Peter Leaven, he's very much nailed his colours to the mast who he follows. So he's definitely not a fan of us, put it that way. So he'll be fired. He'll want to make sure that he can do his team a favour or two by trying to take some points off us. But yeah, we need to. It's just going to be a case of these boys that are coming in. If they have to be thrown in right away, say Vanchara had to be thrown in against Hearts last week and did all right for 60 minutes. If we can get 60 minutes out of these guys, you know, and can get them in, then so be it.
I mean, yeah, there's not much else to say about it, Phil. I was just reading there that Stephen Welsh has been told to hang fire.
hang fire, Stephen.
Just hang fire until we know if I've got this boy for Brentford. So, I mean...
Oh, God almighty. And yeah, he's became the cover for the cover, which is hilarious because he was brought back and we were told he was cover for the injury to Carter Vickers and in case Scales or Trusty get injured or suspended. And of course, Trusty did get a suspension. And yeah, Dane Murray seems to be the chosen one. So I said to Terry last night, he's now the cover for the cover. That's what he's actually become. And it's like Stevie Welsh still isn't even good enough to stay. Honestly, man, you don't laugh, you'll cry at times with this team. And how they operate.
Do we feel so? Obviously, with the how do you pronounce that boy's name that we're getting on loan now?
Mvuka.
Mvuka. Yeah. So have we strengthened up front, Phil? Have we strengthened? Do any of these guys walk straight into the starting lineup? Who we got next? Sorry, who's it we're playing again next?
Aberdeen. I'll put Pittodrie.
Yeah, Aberdeen, right. So do any of these guys? Does Yang, who's had a relatively decent season for Yang standards, does he drop out for Mvuka? And does Vanchara, does he drop out for Junior Amadou?
Well, Vanchara was one that came in and he instantly was a better choice through the middle because he's a natural centre forward. Ian Atchell was the only other decent one we had, but he's always injured. That's the problem. He was still injured when he came in. Maeda through the middle this season has been an empty jersey. What we saw last season is a pale comparison to what we're seeing now. It's like, he's way off it this season. So Vanchara has obviously been a decent upgrade there. So two up front. There's something novel idea.
4-2.
But Mike Bassett, why not? Eh? Yeah, why not? Just full caution to the wind. But you're right. And even at Maeda, when he's been out wide this season, it's not been great. But again, our winger options on there.
He's just checked out, man. It's a shame. It's a shame to see. It's oddly not a single bit of transfer gossip surrounded him at all today.
That's true. Actually, after what happened in the summer, you were expecting, we'll get to the January window, it'll be the same as what happened to Kyogo last year. Maybe he'll stick around till we played Rangers and then we've played, obviously, the European campaign's finished, and maybe once we know a future in that, he'll be off like Kyogo was last year. Not a whisper of any links or nothing. And he's still here right through to the summer now. So there's a World Cup to obviously make sure he's in the squad for with the Japanese national team. So yeah, there's that.
He's on that plane regardless. I think he gets.
And it's funny how Kyogo also found his scoring touch the minute he was threatened with a move back to us. You noticed that? He's actually
Aye.
scoring goals now
He's
for
actually,
Birmingham.
fuck that, man. Better start
Honestly.
scoring.
I know. I can't be going back up there. Oh no.
Don't know how
But
much.
yeah.
I don't know how much real threat there was to that happening anyway. To be honest,
It did seem very lazy journalism, or there's some sort of communication breakdowns happened again with the stories that have came out that once Birmingham had caught wind of Celtic making an approach, they were not into it at all after what happened with Yang in the summer. There you go, Yang playing a pivotal part in that one. But yeah, that brings an end to the window. Nothing really. There was no last minute curveballs. It was all the names that were linked throughout the day. Yeah, they're over the line. So yeah, and say we're just waiting on the confirmation of it's Benjamin Arthur or is Arthur Benjamin? Is Benjamin Arthur into that's the right way
who
around?
gives a fuck?
Well, basically, we're waiting on that defender from Brentford to be fully confirmed,
Nobody
but it
cares.
seems like that's probably happening. But yeah, other than that, there was sadly, no last minute drama, no last minute. Oh, this is out of nowhere. I'll just take the Celtic Twitter again one more time to see if they've at least confirmed the actual deals that we know about. Let's see what they've done. Anything new to tell us, Celtic? Anything you want to publish there? No, the last thing was about, I say, the B team goalkeeper joining Leighton Orient on a permanent transfer, and then the one before that, Johnny Kenny. So yeah, Celtic's Twitter still isn't telling us anything. Must be getting the graphics prepared for that one, and the Jerry McCulloch interview must be getting recorded right now as we speak. Sure, that'll be riveting viewing. The usual 6 default questions that he tends to ask. That'll be fun. But yeah, that's where we're at. So this is the squad that we've got. Another transfer window comes to an end. There was a comment that I had up earlier on. I think this is the what we should probably, finish on, essentially the main talking point. And it was from Kingston Boy says, surely Michael Nicholson doesn't survive this, and that has been the topic for a while now. He's obviously been very much at the centre of the anger. My problem is, if he goes, fair enough, but he'll just get replaced by another Michael Nicholson clone, essentially. Yeah, it's above him that needs to change. It needs to be from Desmond's down the way. It needs to change because it will just be the same. We broke the mold with the Don Mackay appointment, but apparently from sources inside the club and what you've heard over the years. In fact, somebody you and I know, David, that we speak to on a regular basis, who does work within the club, did tell us that Mackay, when he was there for the 8 weeks, was it 8 weeks, 9 weeks, says he was a breath of fresh air in terms of liaising with him, this guy's team and whatnot within the club. But the minute he was gone, Michael Nicholson took that position. It was just radio silence from the top. But he says the stories going round within the stadium were that he was moving too quickly for the antiquated board, essentially wanted to change too much too fast and, try and bring the club forward. Imagine that, wanting to progress the club and modernise the club, and that's what forced them out. And yeah, Michael Nicholson took over, and yeah, we're right back to what feels like, where we were at the COVID season, where just a lot of things are just fundamentally broken at this club, and the only thing that's going to change it is it has to change from the top. And a tweet that I saw today, and this is a worrying thought, because obviously all of us want the happiest ending possible for this season, to win the league, and hey, if we can win the double, then even better. But first and foremost, win the league. But I saw a tweet today saying, if we end up winning this league with the way we performed in this transfer window, you just know that this board, Dermot Desmond via his son, are going to put a statement out saying, see, we told you that our methods work. We told you that our system works. There you go. Benjamin Arthur confirmed on the app. So there you go. But yeah, that is a possibility, David, where they'll sit back and go, there's nothing to worry about. Our methods are right. In the Dermot Desmond statement, when he said there's nothing wrong with the structure at this club, it was one man's mission for self-preservation that was the problem. But yeah, if we do end up coming through and winning this, they are going to use that as a, see, there was nothing to worry about after all, David.
Well, that's it. Like, if we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. Right now, it's like, obviously we want to win the league, but it's gonna, like you said, they're gonna be like, well, see, told you, there's nothing to worry about. I don't know. I was just I saw there tonight that not Celtic related, but Christian Romero, the captain at Spurs, had put up on a post on Instagram today, basically calling the fact that they only have 11 players available because he had to play through sickness because they only have 11 players available is a disgrace. So he's called out his club today, the owners of the club that he captains today, on how poor their transfer strategies have been, and obviously the whole time that he's been at the club. I mean,
yeah.
Is that a route that we need to see happening? Like, I know, like, Callum McGregor's not on social media, but like when he is put in front of a camera, you know, he's still very diplomatic in what he says. But is it going to take a high level, like profile player to come out and say that, like, you know, we needed help and this was a shit show?
Well, Callum
I mean, if
McGregor
Neil won't even say it, then I just can't see it happening.
Well, Callum McGregor has said a few times along the way this season under each different manager, I think, about, oh no, he lost his voice completely under Wilfred Nancy. My mistake. He didn't say anything. He left that to Luke McCown to say what needed to be said. But yeah, under Brendan Rodgers in the early part of the season when we were definitely starting to stagnate, there was a few things said by McGregor, echoing what Brendan Rodgers was saying, and yeah, he's said it again. But you bring up Christian Romero. I'm pretty sure Christian Romero's the second time that he's called out the Spurs hierarchy, so he's got balls of steel. He's not afraid to call them out. I don't think our players are willing to go in that two-footed on them, but
they can't afford to lose Christian Romero, though. You're talking a World Cup centre back here, Argentinian international. Like, we don't have that level of player, but we've got, you know, Callum McGregor's you know, and James Forrest. These guys are as high a profile as Celtic are going to have in terms of like what they've done for the club.
Yep.
Like,
no, it's pointless. But again, they don't even need the board. Again, shouldn't need players to tell them this and to listen to what the fans are saying. But again, this is where we all get really confused because us fans, we watch our eyes and we apply logic and nothing. I can't get my head around the idea that the hierarchy of the club would watch some of the product that's been on the park this season and genuinely feel like, there's nothing urgent we need to do here. We don't need to rush. And it's like, are you watching this? Are you watching the same thing that we're all watching? Are you seeing this stagnating team and how poor they are at times? And again, it just blows the mind that anyone in that position, because it has a massive effect on them. We're talking about money and profit. The Champions League is the promised land, and if you want to get there, you have to win the league title this season to try and have a chance of getting back into that and getting all that money that you love hoarding so much. And it's like you're doing everything in your power not to do it. Why? Why would you do that? And again, they just hide behind the manager. They hide behind him, David. That is the biggest issue. They've done it under Brendan Rodgers. They're doing it under Martin O'Neill. And for a very brief period, I guess they kind of did it under Wilfred Nancy, but most of the things he was saying weren't making too much sense to many of us. But yeah, it does feel like none of them will actually come out and speak. What we would need is we don't need a Celtic TV propaganda piece where somebody like Nicholson sits down with Jerry McCulloch for, you know, nice, easy softball questions. We would need somebody from the hierarchy to agree a sit-down interview with somebody from the mainstream media, like whether it's BBC, Sky, STV, whatever, where we can get maybe more to the point answers, because you're not going to get them with a wee puff piece from Celtic TV. They did one a few months back with Nicholson. In fact, it was the one just before the Dundee United game. Remember, he did the piece where he sat down and talked about the Wilfred Nancy appointment, said we're going to back him in the window. He's really excited about this project over the next few windows. This was the guy. This was our number one target. And that's what a lot of fans are going back to and saying, Michael Nicholson, own your mistakes. You admitted on camera and even on a Celtic TV piece that you admitted that this guy was your choice, and he has sabotaged our season like he's used to deal on. Martin O'Neill for all the great work he did the first time around to get us back into it after it was falling apart under Brendan Rodgers. Wilfred Nancy just took a nuclear bomb to it and set us back a good month and a bit. You know, we failed. We level points for Hearts, and now we're chasing them. So Michael Nicholson, yeah, he has to. We have to hear from the hierarchy in some way, but sadly, David, they're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it, and that is the most frustrating bit from our point of view. We're just going to have to rely on Martin O'Neill or Sean Maloney, whoever it is they put in front of the camera, to say whatever line they've been told to say, and we're not going to get the answers as to why they're performing this way. They're just going to hide.
We're very much being held hostage right now as fans, and the club's been held hostage as well. And unfortunately, there is. I don't see how this board get removed because there's talks of boycotts and obviously not another penny and all that stuff. Like, I think the not another penny is certainly one of the more effective ways in terms of stop buying the merch, stop buying the strips. If you're wanting, obviously you want to go to the games because at the end of the day you want to go and watch. We all work hard throughout the week and we want to support our football club and go to the games that you got your season ticket. You aren't going to give that up because you're being held hostage by these charlatans. But obviously boycotting, obviously, like, you want to be there to support the guys that are playing, but we have to. There has to be the only way to really affect this board is by attacking their pockets, and we somehow we need to figure out a way that the fan base can all be on board with this. Stop spending money at the stadium. Go to the games, but don't buy the pies, don't buy drinks. Sneak in your own shit. I don't know. Don't be buying the strips. And if we stop buying the strips in the Adidas sponsorship, then they start to question why are we investing so much money into Celtic when your fans aren't buying the kits and the Adidas Sambas collabs and anything else that they can throw away. That's where we start to maybe see some sort of change. But they've got that money sitting in the bank that they're happy just to fill their pockets with. I wonder if Desmond's thinking about selling up soon, and maybe that's why he's not.
Right. See what happened yesterday at the game with the fans getting up on their feet, and if you stand up if you hate the board. And I was saying that to Terry, like, there must have been about 95% of the fans in attendance, and I think that is. I could see the whole not a penny thing, not another penny. Well, I go to obviously the games and I see it, my own eyes. The food kiosks are not empty. They're not at all. You've got guys that go with their kids, and if the kid wants a burger or they want a hot dog or whatnot, go and get it. If the kid wants a new strip for Christmas, you've got these people in these positions where they're like, I've got to buy it, essentially. So
I get that. I totally get that.
But see that image yesterday of the majority of the stadium, and it's not even an exaggeration when I say 95%, very loud and very clearly making their voices heard, stand up if you hate the board, and chanting that. Funny enough, Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay weren't in attendance. How convenient. But yeah, that will have been, they'll be made aware of that. And I think the image of that is as strong a message, really. Now they know that, because I think they've always had this impression that it's just the Green Brigade. It's just that wee noisy corner. They're the only ones that are just making this noise. It's not something serious. No. So many fans were on their feet yesterday, making their voices very clearly heard about how they feel about them. And I think that will spook them more than not another penny. Genuinely think that'll have a very strong impact on them. And maybe Dermot Desmond will look at that, because now you've got the regular casual scarf-wearing fan going to the game and basically saying they've had enough as well. It's not just it's just the Green Brigade. It's just them that's at it. They're the problem. No. Yesterday, the majority of the fan base let you know exactly where the problem is, and it's them that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't see the Green Brigade getting back in anytime soon. All this board's in charge, which is a shame, because obviously, like, the atmosphere. I've not been at any of the games, Phil. You'll know better than me, but from what I see on the telly, the atmosphere seems a bit flat, and I don't know if that's to do with the lack of the Green Brigade being there, and obviously, like, kind of conducting a lot of the stuff that goes on in with the chanting. But just, I think the place is just a bit of a somber.
Yeah, place. Officially, I think the ban has been 20 games now, but the Green Brigade have actually been in a lot of those games because they find ways to get in through buying general sale tickets or other people willingly giving up their tickets, and
That's
they find a way in.
Another penny.
I know, but they
Part of the
get in
problem.
somehow. They're in. So they're in, and they usually congregate in the southwest corner with the other ultras group, Bhoys Celtic. So they were there on Sunday. They've been there for a few home games recently, and yeah, it's a world of difference when they are there. But when they get into that corner, it gets them closer to the main stand where the border, and there's been a few incidents where a few of the members have ran to the sort of like the wall that separates the southwest corner and the south stand, and have draped like big banners over it, like aimed at Brian Wilson and Michael Nicholson and whatnot. And I'm sure the board are chuffed for that one. They'll turn their head to the left and just see like a big fuck you type message, essentially, just basically sticking it to them. So yeah, I'm sure they're thrilled with that one. But no, they do get in from time to time and say the ban. It's hard for them to if people are willingly giving them their season tickets, for example, to allow them to get in, then the club can't control it. They're finding ways into the stadium, so they have been. And I say I've seen plenty of away games this season where you look on the telly, you'll see the banner in the crowd, so they are getting into those as well. So they have been. I've just not been in their usual spot, but there's been quite a few home games since the ban became official that they've actually been there.
They need to. It'd be good to get them back, obviously, in their
yeah. And their usual
I mean, nobody
spot,
shouldn't be getting. But to ban an entire group of them for one or two that maybe you could argue stepped over the line. We all know why they did it, though. We all know why the board banned the entire lot of them. They were just looking for any reason to do it, and unfortunately, they were given one. But hopefully that can be resolved.
Well, I suppose we should probably head off now because we've done an hour and 10 minutes. As we expected, it wasn't going to be an exciting finish. Funny enough, on my screen right now, it says Celtic signed Benjamin Arthur on loan. So that's Sky Sports now saying it as well. So yeah, tonight it was...
Fucking hell, man. At least you know that you've been watching, mate.
Well, the thing is, we did the yellow tie gimmick the first time we did it on the Boise bus, but since then it's just been wear something yellow. But even tonight, David is so much apathy for the club right now. He can't even bring himself to wear something yellow. I'm still hanging in there just about. But yeah, David's
my Hulk Hogan
tonight.
shirt that I wore in the summer, unfortunately.
Yeah, true. So, but no, we'll head off and say so tonight we did sign Mvuka, and obviously Arthur has signed as well on loan, and Adamu, that's how we're pronouncing it. He obviously signed on loan as well as Araujo and Vanchara. Yes, we managed to bring in 5 players and not a single penny. There you go. The board have taken that seriously. Not another penny. The board looked at that message and went, not another penny. We can do that. We can do that. And they
did exactly what they asked. We did exactly what they asked. It's not the stuff.
Honestly. I know they've managed to do it. Slimy bastards.
They found another loophole.
They have these loopholes. But anyway, we'll head off. So Wednesday night, Terry will obviously be along to do post-match. It'll obviously be a bit late. We've been 10 o'clock or whatever for the post-match. He'll be on for that. Either he'll be on himself or somebody will jump on with him either way. And then Friday, I'll be along again for the usual Friday feeling. I wonder how Liam will be feeling after this, to be fair. It'll be interesting to hear his opinions on it all. I can probably guess. But yeah, we'll all be on for the Friday feeling. And then it's the Scottish Cup at the weekend. It'll be the Dundee game we'll be looking ahead to. So that is a Saturday night game. I think we got the Saturday night slot, which is hell of a lot better than 4 o'clock on a Sunday at Celtic Park. I'll tell you that for nothing. So Saturday night, I believe we're playing Dundee Scottish Cup. So yeah, that's what's coming up for the rest of the week on the channel. So yeah, folks, hit the like button, do all that good stuff on the way out. And yeah, that's been another transfer window. David, shall we do this again at the end of August? Shall we do this again, mate?
Always, mate. It's just tradition now, just to be sitting here and be miserable for an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, we'll do it all again in the summer. I'm sure we will. But anyway, folks, do all that good stuff on the way out. And yeah, we shall see you for the post-match show on Wednesday night. Catch you later, guys. Cheers.
See you later. Bye.